Hi, I'm Elizabeth at A Literary Princess, and today I'm doing the Canterbury Tales book tag. So, this was created by Dunn Reads and Writes. I was not tagged, as per usual. I saw Brandon from Brandon's Bookshelf do it, and I thought this was a great tag. It's so much fun. The prompts are great. The idea of basing a tag off of the Pilgrims from the Canterbury Tales is just awesome. So thank you very much to AJ Dunn. So let's jump right in because there's a lot to get through here. Prompt 1. The host is the character who relates the tales to the reader. He is large, loud, and merry. Recommend a mammoth book, over 800 pages, for March of the Mammoths. So I am going to recommend The Brontes by Juliet Barker. This is a biography not just of the Bronte sisters, but of their whole family, starting with their father Patrick and going all the way through until after the sisters' death, following Patrick as he lived with Charlotte's husband, Arthur Bell Nichols. And I'm pretty sure that's where it ends, with Patrick's death. Although maybe it covered Arthur Bell Nichols. I don't actually remember, it's been a while. But this biography is amazing. It's considered like the biography of the Brontes. It is so thorough and it reads really well. Like, it's not boring. Like, sometimes biographies can be kind of dry. It's not. You really get a sense of the Brontes as people, real people. And it's just amazing. I do know some people feel it's a little bit harsh towards Charlotte, but I'm not of that opinion. I think in some cases the harshness may have been merited, but we won't get into that. Anyway, so yeah, highly recommend if you're interested in the Brontes at all. Such a great book. Sadly, I don't have my physical copy here with me. It's on campus, which I feel like I say in every single video. Prompt number 2. The Knight stands for fighting, war, and bravery. Recommend a book with a courageous main character. So this is East by Edith Pateau. I think it's also called Northchild in some places. I'm not sure if that's correct. I know it has a different title in some places. I think it's Northchild, but I don't know. Anyway, it is a retelling of East of the Sun and West of the Moon, and it follows Rose, whose mother wants her to be like a very sweet, docile girl that stays home and does sewing, but she's not. She's extremely adventurous and brave, and when a giant white bear comes to their house and asks her to come with him, she goes with him. And she ends up going on an adventure, falling in love, and then having to fight to get her love back. So it's amazing. I love that book. It's one of my favorite fairy tale retellings. All right, prompt number 3. The Wife of Bath stands for sex, marriage, and arguing. Tell us about a book with a strong female character. So I went with Sophie Hatter from Howl's Moving Castle by Diana Wynne Jones. Sophie's great. She basically just, she is a young woman, but she gets cursed by a witch and turns into an old woman, and then ends up moving into the house of this wizard named Howl, and his house is a moving castle. And she just decides, okay, she gives no fucks, and is cleaning. She takes no shit from anybody, and she basically just works magic by like willing it into existence. It's really interesting, and she's just such a great character. I love her. I love her relationship with Howl. They are hilarious. So yeah, she is a great female character. If you've seen the Studio Ghibli movie, it's quite different, but they are both very good in their own ways. All right, prompt number 4. The Pardoner is all about ambiguity. Tell us about your favorite queer characters. My favorite characters are, or my favorite queer characters are from the All for the Game series by Nora Sakovic. Neil, I'm fine, Justin, and Andrew, I'm a cut-a-bitch Mignard are amazing, and I love them. This book's ridiculous. This whole series is ridiculous, but it's just so much fun. And I love these two. I loved the development of their relationship, which doesn't really get going until the third book. And I love their interactions with each other. It's great. All right. Number 5, the Miller is bold, blasphemous, and overturns conventions. Who is your favorite naughty character? I had a really hard time for this one because I don't really, I don't really do naughty characters. I was like, I don't know. My characters are like all either nerds, pathetic, or depressed. But after a bit of thinking, I did come up with Tyrion Lannister from A Song of Ice and Fire by George R.R. Martin. He's like the epitome of a naughty character. He drinks too much. He sleeps around with a lot of women. And he just generally tries to annoy people, it seems. So I love Tyrion, though. He's a great character. I'm sorry that I have to keep looking down and like fiddling with my tablet. It's ancient and can't handle being open for more than 2 seconds. Prompt 6, the prioress is modest, quiet, and compassionate. Recommend a book you don't hear much about on BookTube. So for this, I am recommending Nervous Conditions by Tsitsi Dangaremga? I probably butchered that. I'm so sorry. This is one of my favorite books of 2021. It is a piece of Zimbabwean? Would that be how it is? I don't know. The author is from Zimbabwe, and it is set in Rhodesia, which is now Zimbabwe, and deals with a young woman growing up and getting an education. It's so good. I never heard of it until I had to read it for a class, but I think a lot of people on BookTube would really enjoy it, so I highly recommend it. Prompt 7, the monk cares little for the rule of work and prayer. Tell us about an unconventional character. And so for this, I'm going to go with Jill from Amy Dillwyn's Jill. So Jill is born into a fairly wealthy family, but when she just can't deal with her stepmother anymore, she decides that she's going to run away and become a lady's maid. And so she gives up her class and goes to become a lady's maid for this woman, Kitty, and she actually ends up falling in love with Kitty. So very unconventional. This is a Victorian novel set in the 19th century. So definitely not your usual Victorian heroine. I'm gonna kill this tablet. I'm absolutely gonna kill this tablet. I'm so sorry. I'm gonna pause and I'll be back in a moment. I'm back and hopefully my tablet will continue to cooperate. So, question number 8. The friar is all about confession. Confess to us. Have you read the Bible, Torah, Quran, or other religious text all the way through? Hell no one's got time for that. I have read a pretty decent amount of the Bible, just not in any order, but just doing it in church and in Bible study and Sunday school and regular school because I went to a Catholic school. So I've read, I feel like I've read all the interesting parts of the Old Testament. So I've done like all of Kings and Chronicles, so all that stuff with David and Solomon. I've done like all of the like major, like Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and all of them, and then Moses. I've done all that. I've done all the Gospels and some of the letters, and then I've done Revelation. And I've done a few of the prophets within the Old Testament, like some of the major and some of the minor, but definitely not all of it. I mean, I'm not sitting down and reading Leviticus or Deuteronomy. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. Prompt number 9. The summoner is lecherous and a drunk who tries to sound more educated than he is. Tell us about a book that sounded better than it was. Oh my God. Disorientation by Elaine Shea Chu. I just recently read this and it sounded so good. It's about a PhD student, Ingrid Yang, I think, who's getting her PhD in East Asian Studies and working on this Chinese poet who taught at her school. And then she discovers something about him that's just going to change the scholarship about him forever. And it sounded so good, and it ended up being so not good. The execution was just terrible. I'll rant more about it in my wrap up for March, but yeah, no, it was not good. 10. The person is poor but rich in thought and deeds. Tell us about a book that gave you more than you expected. Oh, and I apparently didn't grab a book for this because I don't know. I don't know. I feel like a lot of books I get more out of them than I'm expecting to. Honestly, I feel like most things I read. Oh, no, you know what? I did have one for this, and I don't have a physical one because I read it as an audiobook that I got from the library. So, Doll Bones by Holly Black. So, this is a middle grade book. I was just like, oh, this is going to be fun and cute and quick. And it ended up being really emotional. And a really nice coming-of-age story that had a lot to say about storytelling and growing up, and it was really good. And I was like, oh wow, it ended up being one of my favorite books of that year. And I just wasn't expecting that at all, because I was like, this is a fun middle grade book that I can read in 5 hours. And it ended up being amazing. It's probably my favorite Holly Black book, actually. Number 11, The Squire stands for youth, beauty, and courting. What book did you fall in love with when you were a youth? Define youth. I'm still a youth. I'm not 30 yet. But I decided to go with a book that I fell in love with as a very young child. This is The Ordinary Princess by MMK. Oh my God, I love this book. So I used to go to the library at my grandparents' lake house whenever I went to stay with them, and I would get this book. And I never had my own copy until I was an adult and bought it myself on the internet. But it is about a princess whose fairy godmother on her christening day gives her the gift of ordinariness. So she's not like this beautiful, blonde-haired, blue eyes, graceful, beautiful singing voice princess. She's just a girl. And she ends up running away and becoming a maid in another castle and falling in love, and it's great. I love this book. I've read it so many times as a child, and I've read it a few times as an adult too, and it holds up. All right, the clerk says little, but his words are wise and morally virtuous. Tell us about a short book that made you a better person. This is the one that I actually didn't have one for. This sounds so bad. I can't think of a book that has made me a better person. Like, I just don't really see reading like that, I guess. I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't use books to teach myself morals and stuff, I guess. I don't think I have one for this. And if I did, it probably wouldn't be short. Anyway. Because I mostly read long books. So, number 13, The Man of Law upholds justice and knows the laws by heart. What is a book you could not imagine rereading? Lord of the Rings. Which is actually funny because technically I have reread The Fellowship of the Ring and The Two Towers. So I first read those in high school and then never read Return of the King. So later as an adult, I reread the first two and read Return of the King. But I don't think I will ever read this series again. It's not because it's not good. It's good. It's very good. But I'll just go watch the movie. That sounds so bad for a book lover to say, but I don't know. All the scenes that are really important to me, I already have, like, kind of etched in my brain and my heart. And if I need them again, I can go to the movies for them. I don't think I will ever read this again. Unless I have, like, a child and they want to read it together, then maybe. But I just can't see myself reading it again. All right. What are we going to do with you? Please don't fall. That'll hurt if it falls on me. Number 14. The Manciple? Is that how you pronounce it? I don't know. Provides food. Recommend a series that you think is good from the first book to the last. All right. So I have here The Warlord Chronicles by Bernard Cornwell. So this is a retelling of King Arthur. It's set in the Dark Ages, which is when that would have actually been happening. So if this is historical fiction, it's not fantasy. I adore this series. This is such a good series. It's a trilogy. The other two books are Enemy of God and Excalibur. And they were just, all three were amazing. Oh my God. This is such a good series. It's actually my brother's favorite author. That's how I found it. And yeah, it's just fantastic. Oh God. Oh God. Please don't fall on me. Number 15, The Merchant deals in furs and cloth and is powerful and wealthy. Recommend a book with a powerful message or theme. I struggled with this one too, which is not because I don't read books with like messages or themes. Like I read plenty of books with themes. All books have themes. But I was like, I don't know, a powerful one? I don't know. But I finally settled on Docile by K.M. Spara. I don't know. If it has a Z in it, I can't pronounce it. Not that I can pronounce anything else. So the main theme of this is actually right here on the cover. There is no consent under capitalism. So this deals with a society in the not so distant future where the rich are extremely, extremely rich and the poor are very, very poor and sometimes basically sell themselves into slavery to the rich people as dociles who can be used for labor or sex or basically whatever the rich people want to do with them. And they take this drug called Dosaline to make them forget. And our main character, Elisha, decides that he's going to become a docile because his family is so in debt and they need the money. And he's not going to take the Dosaline. So yeah, this really explores like how far can you go in a society with such a power imbalance and have something still be consensual? And it's an uncomfortable book. I know a lot of people wouldn't like this, but I really enjoyed it. Start a new pile over there so it doesn't come toppling down. Number 16, The Shipman is a wine-stealing rascal. Tell us about a side character who steals the spotlight. I'll tell you about more than one side character that steals the spotlight. Every single one of the Cullens in the Twilight series is more interesting than Bella and Edward, okay? I would love a book about Rosalie, or Carlisle, or Alice, or Jasper, or even Emmett. They have such interesting backstories. And then there's Edward. Actually, you know what? Even Edward's backstory is interesting. Then we have Bella. Bella's not interesting. The side characters in this are way more interesting than the main characters. Like, I do not care about Bella and Edward's romance. Give me Rosalie murdering the people that wronged her. Thank you. Number 17, the physician knows what ails you and can cure it. Tell us about a book that you consider a comfort read. So I went with Fangirl for this by Rainbow Rowell, which I actually don't have a physical copy of. It's on my Kindle. This is just a book that I go to whenever I'm feeling really homesick and sad. So when I was abroad living in the UK, I turned to this book because I was just so sad. And it just makes me feel better. It's about a girl going off to her first year of college, and she has anxiety, and she finds comfort in fan fiction. So, yeah. Number 18, the Franklin is not a vassal or a noble, but a free man. Recommend a book about freedom in any form. So I decided to go with The Tenant of Wildfell Hall by Brontes for this. So this deals with a woman who's in an abusive relationship, and she leaves in an era when you just didn't leave. So this is very much dealing with the fact that women need freedom. Like, they need as much freedom as men to be able to leave a situation that's bad and take care of themselves and not be trapped in a marriage that is awful. I've talked about that one a lot on this channel, so I'm not going to go on too long. All right, number 19, the Reeve is believable on the outside, but lies on the inside. What problem? I can't read today. What book was different than what the blurb led you to believe? So I'm going with, I think it's called We Play Ourselves. I feel like the author is like Jennifer Silverman or something, but that's probably completely wrong. I have this on my Kindle, so I don't have a physical copy in front of me. So this blurb leads you to believe that it's going to be a thriller, and it's not. It's a piece of literary fiction that is critiquing New York Theater Society and Los Angeles Film Society. It makes you think that the plot's going to be revolving around this missing teenage girl. That is like a tiny thing that happens for 2 seconds toward the end of the book. I don't know what the people marketing that were doing, but they didn't do a good job. Number 20, The Plowman is Good-Hearted and Faithful. What book do you read over and over again? My favorite book, Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. I don't even know how many times I've read this anymore. A lot. I go back to it basically every year to some extent. All right. Number 21, the Guildsmen are 5 men who act as a unit and stand for brotherhood or sisterhood. Recommend a book with a strong ensemble cast of characters. So I decided to go with The Secret History by Donna Tartt because I love this group. They are not good people, but they certainly make an impression on you. And I mean, every single one of them brings something to the group. And they're just fascinating. And I totally get why Richard became obsessed with them, because I probably would have too. 22, the cook makes the food that feeds you. Tell us about a book that feeds your soul. Wuthering Heights. Wuthering Heights feeds my soul. It really does. Number 23, the Yeoman serves you. Tell us about a book that served its purpose, did what you wanted it to do, but it wasn't great, but it wasn't bad. So I decided to go with Willful Subjects by Sarah Ahmed for this. I read this for my feminist theory class last semester, and like, it's fine. It does what it's trying to do, and I found it very useful. I used it for my paper on Jill, actually, which I talked about earlier. But like, it wasn't great. Like, it was kind of confusing sometimes. Not a favorite book, definitely, but it wasn't bad either. I didn't hate it. It did what I needed it to do. It served its purpose. Number 24, The Second Nun talks about a saint's life in her tale. What book do you praise often? Winter Song by S.J. Jones. I feel like I don't shut up about this book, and I talk about it in like every video I make. But this is an amazing book, and everybody should read it. And what the hell got on the back of it? Because my fiance's a slob, and I'm putting these on top of his computer because it's right next to the couch. And he obviously got something disgusting on his computer. Anyway, this deals with a young woman named Liesel who marries the Goblin King and becomes the Goblin Queen underground. And it's great, and you should read it. Please go read it. All right, and then the last one, number 25, The Nun's Priest is witty and doesn't take himself too seriously. Recommend a book that has a funny or witty main character. And I really struggled with this because, again, I feel like I don't have a lot of main characters that are all that witty. I guess Elizabeth Bennet's pretty witty in Pride and Prejudice, and my copy of Pride and Prejudice is way over there, so I'm just gonna put it up here because I'm lazy. I don't want to go get it. But I don't know, I feel like I don't have a lot of funny or witty characters that I read about. I read about pathetic, depressed, and or nerdy people. I mean, I can give you snarky. Neil from All for the Game is like the king of snark. I don't know if you'd call that wit, though. I don't know. I'll go with Elizabeth Bennet for this. All right, so that is the Canterbury Tales book tag. Thank you so much for watching. I'm not going to tag anyone, but you can consider yourself tagged by me if you want to do this. It's been great talking with you all. I will see you soon. Bye.